So I think this will take us into the topic that you're the expert at, which is Humantic's
Hopefully,
tool.
hopefully, yeah, I'm the expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try. Yeah.
Uh, to me, the word is prediction. So even where generative text transformers like ChatGPT are predicting the most likely next word or next sentence in a conversation, you're using Humantic AI to predict people's personalities based on everything we know about them, either text they've written or information on their LinkedIn profile and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about why these predictions maybe are better than human predictions? If a human went to a LinkedIn profile and guessed some things as a salesperson about the call, and Humantic did the same thing, what differences would you see, and what are the benefits of using an AI tool?
Oh, it gets interesting, Mike. You're going to one of the most interesting and controversial topics, right at the beginning, and we've been having some of those conversations here and there. Um, some things that won't sit pretty with humans who are listening to this conversation. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of AI agents as audience just yet. So there's a human part. I'll throw in another element if you want to dig into that. There is the traditional assessment part. You see, the traditional
Yeah.
test-based, questionnaire-based assessment. So there's human assessing personality, there's traditional assessment assessing personality, and then there is AI, ML, humantic assessing personality. Three different Bs. Now, research shows that humans, out of all three, humans are the worst at
It's
guessing,
not
assessing
unlikely. We carry lots of
personality.
baggages and
Yeah.
biases, and we make snap judgments on all kinds of things, right?
But the beauty is, we don't think we are the worst. We do agree that only, hey, yeah, I agree, only 20% probably good at it. But we also believe that everyone thinks that they are a part of that 20%. So it's very
Have you ever
interesting.
seen that research study? Are you quoting that one? I forget what it was. Like
I'll send you a
was
link. We have an advisor. He's a Stanford professor, Mikhail Kosinski. Go to
yeah.
mikhailkosinski.com/research. There's a study right there comparing human judgment to computer-based, predictions.
Well, I think it was like I think it was management. There was an official like, academic research study where over 50% of managers rate themselves as above average, which is statistically impossible already. But then their reports, only 20% of them ranked their managers higher than average. So there's a
Yeah.
big disconnect between where we think we are and where we actually
Let me contextualize that for personality. So both you and I and a lot of our people, members in the audience, at least those Sandler related or Sandler trained, are familiar with DISC personality profile, right? Now let me ask you, Mike. You might know this, but okay, if not, how what's the rough DISC? DISC is 4 quadrants roughly. What is the rough breakdown of how many people in the world are of each type? Do you have an idea?
I've heard stats on this very thing, so I'll probably be off. But the ones I remember are something like 15% D, 20, around 25% I, then like 40% S, and then back down again to whatever's left, 10 or 15% C. How did I
So
do?
you're not too far off. You're not too far off. Again, studies tend to vary, but what is everyone agrees on is D is the most likely unlikely type. It's the
Hmm.
studies that put it around 9%. I've seen up
Hmm.
to 14. You said 15%, but I'll call it broadly. 1 in 10 people are D, and then ISC they are in the 1 in 3 sort of a region, roughly speaking. Again, I'm going rough. So I think S is, as you said, 40. Of one of the studies I remember was said 33. I was, I think, 27. So they're roughly 1 in 3 is ISC, broadly 1 in 10 is D. You know how many people I've met so far who said, hey, I am an S or I or C?
Very few in sales and leadership, right?
Almost zero.
I claim all
Almost.
three. Is that weird? I am not D at all. That's what other people are for. But obviously I like to entertain. I'm a very people oriented
Yeah.
person. And then I have this weird, I've already spoken nerd enough in this podcast to know that there is some C if I know the difference between machine learning and AI. There's got to be some nerd in there too.
Yeah, which is somewhat unique. But anyway, so 1 in 10 people is D. Leadership more so. More leaders tend to be D types. I would say maybe 3, even if it was 3x, 4x higher, that'll be 3 in 10, 4 in 10, maybe 5 in 10. I think I remember one person, like even if I talk about Sandler, who said, hey, I think I am an IAS, something of that sort. Everyone wants to be D, and more specifically, too often, like 9 out of 10 times they say, hey, I took a test, I'm a DI. So DIs are the charismatic leaders, right? And that's where it starts. So now, but you go and ask people, you spoke about human assessment, ask 3 people about someone that all 3 of them know well enough. At least one of them will differ significantly enough. Ask 5, for sure 1 or 2 will differ. You take a traditional assessment, and now we all know, and we face this as a predictive AI as the new thing on the block, because people often think of the traditional assessment, forget human judgment, as the baseline. And what they forget is that that itself is a test that is around at best 80% accurate. It's been proven. Vast majority of traditional assessments are not good. Let's be honest. Few are good, but good means again they will be 80-85% accurate. Enough research and studies. But people take that as a baseline. They'll typically compare AI to that and say, hey, that's not me. And plus they want to be DI, and on those traditional assessments, chances of them scoring DI tend to be a bit higher, even if it's a good assessment with good criterion validity, construct validity, all the technical stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation that we end up having quite a few times.